Hello everyone, welcome to Indie Tutorials. My name is Guillermo and today we are going to continue tweaking the dialogue system or the dialogue that occurs in the Ark the first time Lightning arrives. So let's continue by creating the dialog box that we are going to use. So let's open up ORK editor. Let's go to the menus, and from here we go to the GUI boxes. Let's create a brand new GUI box and let's name it bottom uppercase bottom dialog GUI box. Why not? So from here we don't need the cursor over. We also don't need to reset the Unity input. We can leave the height adjustment to none, no problem. So for the content box we need to change the X to 0 and the Y to 1080. Then the width will be the whole width of the screen and the height it will be 220. We can leave the padding as it is. We want to show the box. Then for the text format we can leave it as it is as well. But what we can change is the font. So let's choose our square font and let's increase the size to something like 38. The text alignment we can leave it as it is, no problem. Then if we scroll down we have the name box. We are going to display the name of the person is talking. So let's change something here. The width we can change to be 420. The height we can leave it as it is, but we have the anchor set. Oh, okay, so it's okay like that. Let me double check here in the content box if we change. Yeah, this needs to be in the lower left. So let's go back to the name box and we need to change the text as well. So let's pick up square and change the size to something like 32 in this case. The text alignment can be to the left. We can change to be the alignment to the middle in this case. We don't care about the choice settings, nor neither the tab settings. And let's give it a preview here in the open GUI editor. So yeah, this is exactly what we want to be at the bottom and occupying the whole screen. So let's click save and confirm. Okay, since we are already here in the editor, ORK editor, let's create a new game event and let's call it, well, we can leave it empty for now. We are going to come back here later on, but let's just save it for the time being and let's choose our folder to save it, events, the Ark, and I'm going to give it a name. So the Ark intro dialogue. Once it's saved, we can go to the World tab and then we have the global events. So let's create a new one and let's select our newly created event, the Ark intro dialogue, and let's rename the event the same so we know what we are talking about here. And make sure that we have the event execution to call. This is important. Okay, so let's save the changes and confirm, and we can now close the ORK editor and let's go to the scene. So here in this scene we are going to create some camera positions that we are going to use to switch the cinematic event, let's say. So let me position the view like so. And from here what we can do is to create an empty game object. Let's call it camera positions. I'm using a Hierarchy 2 plugin in order to enhance the hierarchy, and with that I'm available to use, for example, here the $sign and H to make like a header, and it will create this sort of thing in the hierarchy, which is nice to organize a little bit the stuff here. Okay, so after doing this header game object, I will add another empty game object, or actually I will create a new camera. So this will be my first camera position. So camera pose 0. I can remove the listener. And from here what I can do is to change the position of this camera, and later on what I'm going to need is just the transform to move the player's camera to this position, transition the camera. So let's just play it a little bit with it. So let's use the trick about using the game object align with view, and yet from here if I were to select the camera, yes, something like that. We actually only need the transform, but having the camera component is easier for us to select and change the perfect view that we wanted. Of course, we also need the prefab for lining in order to create our camera positions. So let's select it from the project panel, and we have the curves equilibrium, for example. So drag it to the scene. Let me rotate it. And from here what I can do is to duplicate this camera and rename it to camera pose 1. And in this case I'm going to change my view, select the camera and use game object, align with view, or Ctrl+Shift+F. Select the camera again, click F, not here but inside the scene view, and from here I can rotate the view. Well, it should change, but it didn't. Align with you. Okay, now we. Same thing, just play a little bit with the camera. Transform, Actually, I'm going to use this camera to do like a view for both characters. Like so. And then let me duplicate once more, and let's call it camera position 2. Control Shift F. Turbo. Control Shift F. Okay. So now if I hit F, I can tweak a little bit the view of this camera. Something like that. And let's save our changes. Now we can remove lining prefab from the scene and proceed for the next step. So now what we can do is to start modifying the global event or the cutscene event. I'm clicking on Hope and to see the event interaction we had before, and this is the Hope dialog event, so we can click on Edit Event and it will open in the ORK Editor framework if the editor is not already open. And if we remember at the event settings, when the event starts, we are blocking the HUD. What we are going to do now is, after blocking the HUD, we are going to call this global event that we created. So if we right click and then add, go to event, we have the chance to call global event, a move event, our custom unit event we we make in the early version of the series. I'm actually missing how to call just simple event, and I would like not to be a global event, but there is no chance for do that without going through cumbersome like selecting data event and selecting the object in the scene and search for the event. So let's use the call global event. I think is the easiest way for now. And let's connect the block HUD to the global event, then the global event to the show dialog, like so. And here in this node we can select from the global event to use the Ark intro dialog that we made, right? And remember that we set this global event to start by call, and this is what's happening here is calling this global event. Okay, so let's click save, and from here we can then go into the game events, open game event, and let's see if we can find the Ark intro dialog. So let's start creating our dialogue sequence here. The first important thing here in the event settings is to not check the blocking event, because let's say the parent event is calling, this one is already a blocking event, so two events cannot be blocked at the same time, as you can see here in the help description. And actually, since I'm using the dark theme, let me go back and change the color of the help to white, and it will ask me to save before going to the events again. Open game event, Ark intro. Yes, so you can see that only one blocking event can be performed at a time, so it is important to not check a blocking event. Also, well, we don't care about clear found objects, but we want to use the main camera settings here as default. So going down, we want to add actors, waypoints, and audio clips. So let's start by the event actors. Click on Add Actor, and the first actor is going to be of type camera. Now let's create another actor. Scroll down, and this is going to be of type starting object. So this the starting object is the object that contains the event interaction. So in this case is the hope prefab. So we can store it here, starting object. But what we are going to do is to set the name to hope. So this will be used by the dialog box to write the right name of the object, of the actor is talking. And of course, the last actor we are going to add is the player. And we can set the name to lining. There we go. Click on Save, and let's continue with the waypoints. Okay, so for the waypoints, we need to add 3 of them. Remember that we created 3 camera positions. So let's click one time, and from here we want to find object, and the name of the object we want to find is the camera pose 0. So it needs to match exactly as we type it on the scene. We can copy this one and just change the name to camera pose 1. Copy one more time and change to camera pose 2. There we go. Let's save the changes, and then we could add now the audio clips. I'm going to show you the website I used to create the dialogues or the voice of the players. So the site I'm using is called Spichello, which is very well, I like it very much. I did bought a subscription using a discount I got last year, and yeah, we have a lot of voices. You see like 171 voices available to choose from, and these are the ones I use the most. And you can have a preview. For example, Owen is the one I used to hope.
Hi, I'm Owen. I am a native English speaker.
And it's very easy to use. You can just enter your text here, like, I don't know, hello world, and preview your voice.
Hello world.
This is a preview. For full text, click.
In this case it was selected Rosie, but yeah, you can select any of those. And when using AI type of voice, also you can, for example, change the tone for a normal tone, friendly tone, or serious tone, which is yeah, I like it. And after you create you generate your voiceover, it's stored here in this sort of list. You have an ID. You can remember, of course, the language and the voice you used. So what I'm going to do now, since I already created some of them for this video, I'm going to download it. So this is, we already have that one. I'm going to download this one. And you can see that we already have here, for example, the ID of the voice, but what we can do, instead of starting by the ID, we can do like something like voice hope, the ID, or dialogue, something like that. You can think of this can be big as how big your game is. You can have hundreds of those, so tracking in the, for example, Excel sheet will be very advisable. Alright, so let's click save. Let me download this one as well. Same naming convention, so voice, damn it. Let me do it again. Voice hope. Dialogue. Save. Let me save this one. Already exist. How come? I choose the wrong one, so let's try again. Voice hope dialogue. This is hope as well. And then for lighting, I picked up this Rosie voice that we already previewed. And yes, you can imagine how big this can be at the end. So maybe this is not the best approach in order to maintain this voice database. And there is also, if you wanted to now have as well, instead of English, also in other languages, yeah, you can imagine. This is lining again. Dialogue. And let's save it. Alright. So now if we go back to the Unity editor, we see our voiceover here, and here you can play a little bit with the compression, but I think that as it is alright. Let me see. Yeah, no way. Vorvis. Okay. So coming back to the event, we now need to add the audio clips. So let's select the first one. I have my script over here with the order. So this will be the first one. I have no idea which one of these are, so let me check.
As long as you're here.
Well, yeah, this one. So let's drag it. I wish we could rename this audio clip 0 to something more meaningful, because later on we need to select by audio clip ID, but this is what we have. So let me select the second one.
When you're in the Ark, time ceases to...
Then it's time for lining.
Is that all God can do? Is that all God can do?
And one more. Okay, from the script I wrote from the game, you can see that the dialogue is quite extensive, but I'm not going to do all of this right now, because otherwise the video is going to be like, I don't know, 1-2 hours long, and you get the idea. I will do it in the out of the video, and for next week we can go through all the changes, but you get the idea how it's done. So let's save the event, and now that we have our components that we need, we can start building the dialogues and the camera positions. Okay, so the first node is going to be a camera position, change camera position. So let's go to add, game object, camera, change camera options, sorry, not options, but camera position. So again, add game object, camera, change camera position. And from here, if we select the node, we want to change to use target position. We want to set the position, we want to set the rotation, and we want to set the field of view. Yeah, 40 is okay by default. So the target object is going to be our waypoint, the first one. And now we have also the possibility to do a fade between the change positions, which is nice to have. So let's select that, and let's change a duration of 4 seconds to do this transition, and we can also change the interpolation, so you can play with all of those. And I will select just is in out quad, and let me save the changes because before the editor crashes or something. So the next node that we want is actually to show the dialogue. So right click in the canvas and let's select what is it, UI dialogue, show dialogue. Yeah, let's connect the nodes, and here let me select the show dialogue now so we can see the properties. And from here what we want to do is the dialogue type is going to be auto close. The GUI box, we want to select the one we created before, and in this case this dialogue is performed by Hope, so we want to use the use speaker, so we check that one. And from the objects that we have available in this event, we select Hope and show name. Okay, so for the text, now we are going to our script, and let's select this part, copy, edit text and paste. Click OK and scroll down. The next option we have is to play the audio, so we select that one, and by default is selected the audio clip 0 in the list that we have in the settings. I'm going to uncheck stop and close, but what I want to do also is here at the bottom select how long this dialog needs to be open or remain open, and that depends on how long in this case the audio clip or the voiceover is playing, and we can check that by selecting the clip, and you can see here that it says that the length is 6 seconds, almost 7 seconds. So what we can do is just 7.5 just to have a little buffer there. Okay, and we could select also wait, or this is wait until the dialog closed before the next step is executed. Okay, let me save and let's move on with the next node. So the next thing I want to do is to change the camera position to the center that we made to focus both characters. So let me select this one, for example, and just click copy and connect the node. And in this one I want to select, I can leave everything as it is, but select in this case the waypoint 1, and perhaps just decrease the fade transition. Now the next dialog still performed by Hop, so I can just copy this node, connect it, and in here what we want to change is the text. So let's go back to our script and paste it over. And change the audio clip to the second clip. In this case it will last 3 seconds, so we can decrease here the value to 3.5, or let's say 3.7 seconds to stay in a good place. Good, right. So the next one is going to be another camera change, and this one is going to look at lining. So let me copy this node, connect it, and here this camera position is going to change to the third waypoint. We can leave it 2 seconds, or let's increase it actually to 4 seconds to make it smooth. Okay, and next we need to show another dialog. Copy. So now is lining turn. So we need to change a couple of things here. As you might guess, we need to change the speaker to lining, show name. If we were not to change the name manually, it will show the name of the prefab, which is not nice. Alright, so here we need to change the text. Let's go to our script, and this is all that all code can do. Copy, paste it, and let's select the third audio clip. Let's see how long it takes. It's a couple of seconds, so that's what we are going to put here. in the close after 2 seconds. Then let's copy this node again. I guess we could do this in one single node dialog, but yeah, why not? Do it like so. Okay, still lining, and we need to select the last text. And from here we select the last audio clip, and in this case it's going to last almost 5 seconds. Let me save the changes. And for the last node, just to showcase this dialogue sequence, what we want to do is to change the position of the camera to the original position before starting all this dialogue sequence. So for that we want to use a initial camera position node. So we go to add game object camera and initial camera position. So let's connect the node, and we want to fade to that position as well, so let's do it in, let's say, 3 seconds, and of course use a nice eSync out quad. So let's save the event. If we go again into the open event and select the Hope dialog event, we are now calling this event from here. So let's give it a try. Let's close the editor. Okay, before testing, we need to remember in this camera position that we have a camera component just to disable those. And before publishing our game, we need to delete the camera component. We don't want this object to stay here. So let me save the changes, and let's review the Hope event. So let's click on Edit, Hope Dialog Event, and the event settings, we make sure that we are blocking also the camera control. And I see those, well, actually we don't need the block control maps or clear found objects. So let's click on Save Event, and now we can hit play.
As long as you're here, you're safe. You can rest and not worry about what's happening in the world below. When you're in the Ark, time ceases to flow for anyone but us.
Is that all God can do? He can stop the flow of time up here, but he's helpless to prevent the world from being destroyed.
Okay, I'm happy with the flow, except that the last dialogue is showing too early, so let's go to the event again. And we can do is to make a wait. So base wait node, and let's wait 5 seconds, something like that. Okay, and the other thing that is bothering me is that we saw that the HUD for the health bar is still showing, so this needs to be handled, and we have a couple of ways to do that, but I will cover behind the scenes and just give an overview of what I did, because I actually want to start with the battle system that we are missing and we are overdue a lot of. So yeah, the next video we are starting with the battle system. I will show you the change I did just for the dialogue, but it's about time to start with the actual battle. So thank you for watching, and see you next video. Bye bye.